We will start Mangla Charan prayers and then we'll get into discussion. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Bandeham Shri Guru Sri Padakalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsham Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Shahjana Raghunathavitam Shajivam Sadvaitam Sadhutam Parijanam Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahjana Lalita Shri Vishakhavitansha हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्ते तप्त कंचना गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वंशकल्पातरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने नामस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात्देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे राम संकीर्तन की जय हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय सिंबल भक्तवृंद की जय. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna. So we are going to basically summarize 6 chapters today from 7 to 12, and then we'll go over the format of the exams, and then I think we should be done in 1 hour. That's the plan. So before I get into discussion, I want to read this quote. I have already explained by His Divine Grace. I've already explained that this is my mission, to educate people to understand himself. They are under this misconception that every one of us, we are this body. That is misconception. You must know who is within the body. That is a real education. Thank you. His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, uh, we are basically finishing the module 2, and we have 4 more modules to go. So, module 2 is Bhagavad Gita chapter 7 to 12. So here is another, kind of quick snap of how the marks are distributed. So around 50% is going to be from your homework. So homework carries a lot of marks. If you have been doing the homework, and I'm also observing who is, sending the homeworks on time and who is not. So all of that will matter. Just wanted to let you know, because I have to be transparent when I'm doing the scoring, because I will have to provide everything to the education ministry. So 50% is going to be for the exam, and then 40% is going to be, sorry, 50% the homework, and 40% is going to be exam. So exam also carries almost half of the marks, and then 10% is going to be based upon your attendance to these classes, how you have been attending, and how you have been participating in the discussion and all of that. So with that, I would like to get into the discussion. So basically, chapter 7 to 12. This is basically the essence of Bhagavad Gita. So first 6 chapter is Karma Yoga, and last 6 chapter is Jnana Yoga, and then Bhakti Yoga is in the center of Bhagavad Gita. And these chapters starting from 7 to 12 basically talks mostly about Krishna, who Krishna is, his potencies, his different opulences, and then basically compares different types of bhakti, and then finally concludes that bhakti to Supreme Lord in his personal form is the highest most activity for a soul, for a living being. So in nutshell, this chapter, these 6 chapters very much talks about these 3 things, which are the elements of the pure bhakti also. So I would like to just share those. What are those 3 things? So the first thing is that knowing potencies, bhava, energies of the Lord. So by knowing these things, we know who the Lord is, and that's the first item. Second item is that knowing that God is a person, and that is how chapter 12 will finish, where Arjuna will ask that, okay, so should I meditate on the personal form or the impersonal form? So Krishna is saying that no, 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 you have to meditate on my personal form. So having the knowledge about who Krishna is in terms of his potencies, his bhavava, that's first element. Second element is that knowing that he is a person. That's the second component. And third component is that engaging into devotional service with the knowledge of these 2 components. So in nutshell, these 3 are the principal element of bhakti. Okay, if these 3 elements are together, then we are situated on the right path. And if you really try to understand Gyan Yoga or Dhyan Yoga, or demigod worship, or any other type of practices, all of these 3 elements are not coming together. One of them will be missing, or one of them might not be the component that Krishna is talking through the Bhagavad Gita. So this is very powerful chapter, and a lot of information is given throughout this chapter. But I just thought that how concisely I can share the essence of these 6 chapters. So what I said, these 3 things, very much present the essence, knowing who the Lord is, and that's how this chapter 7 begins. Krishna is saying in the first few verses that the most important thing is that one should hear, okay, both phenomenal and nominal knowledge, jnana and vijnana. And then by hearing slowly and slowly, Krishna will help one to transfer their jnana into vijnana, which means their knowledge will convert into into realization. And that is what you know devotees basically have. They have realized knowledge. I remember when I was starting coming to Krishna consciousness, the person who was training me, whenever I'll meet him, he will ask me, what is your realization? What's coming on in your heart? And then I was very kind of new, so whatever was coming I was sharing with him, and he was very happy. He was saying, very nice, very nice. So and Krishna is saying also in 10th chapter, verse number 11, Gyan Dipena Bhashyate, I basically enlighten their heart, with the torchlight of knowledge. So this realized knowledge basically comes in the process of bhakti. So the numinal knowledge is Krishna saying, is important because it's realized knowledge. And then Krishna is talking about his energies, as we just talked. So I don't want to go into detail of that, but he's talking about, his energies. And then he's talking that one should surrender unto Krishna, because one who surrenders to Krishna, they are very fortunate soul. And then in that section, Krishna is saying that who are the 4 types of people who surrender to him, and who are 4 types of people who do not surrender to him. And then the one who surrenders to him, for them, the path is very easy. So, and then he starts talking about different types of worshipper, such as demigod worshippers are less intelligent because they don't know that they are indirectly worshipping Krishna. So Krishna is requesting that one should worship him directly, and then there are impersonalists also. So Krishna is saying that they are also unintelligent because they are not worshipping his full feature. And then after that, Krishna starts talking about again who he is. So this chapter finishes by sharing that information, that knowledge, that he is Adi Bhuta, Adi Daiva, and Adi Yagya. So that's how this chapter is finishing. That Krishna is Adi Bhuta, the whole material manifestation is conducted and sustained by him, and he is Adi Daiva, and he is Adi Yagya. So all the sacrifices and all the renunciation that one is doing, it's all being done for his pleasure. Then after that, this chapter 8 comes. In this chapter, Krishna is now basically helping devotee to understand that what should be their ultimate goal. Because whatever object you worship, your destination is going to be based upon object of worship that one has adopted in their lifespan. So Arjuna asked about, so in this chapter, basically, Arjuna start asking 8 questions. So normally we hear that chapter 8 has 8 questions. So very, first verses, in the first few verses, there are discussions about Arjuna asking the questions about Brahman and about Adhyatma, self, karma, Adibhuta, which is Prakriti, Adi Daiva, Adi Yagya, and then he's asking how one can basically worship Adi Yagya, and finally Prayan Kal, what should be one's basically mood at the time of leaving this body. And Krishna, in the rest of the chapter, he describes about this prayana kal topic, prayana kal. Prayana means at the time of departure. So that's what basically this chapter has. And the very famous verse here, very famous, statement that comes from this chapter is that whatever one remembers at the time of death, after leaving this body, one basically goes to that stage. So if we remember Krishna at the time of death, our destination will be Krishna's abode. And then Krishna talks about how one can remember him, as a kavim, as a person who is omnipresent and omnipotent and omniscient and omnipresent, as a Puranam, as an eternal person, as a Dhatram. Dhatram means the one who sustains and support. Likewise, there are so many examples Krishna is giving and asking Arjun that is how one can remember him. And then he talks about that section is basically Yoga Misra Bhakti, devotion, but the dominant component of that devotion is yoga, either Gyan Yoga or Dhyan Yoga. So then he talks about Sapchakra Yoga, where one practice to bring their prana uh, between the eyebrows at the time of leaving the body, and then that person gets liberation. And then Krishna talks about what is the destination of the pure bhakti, and if one has performed Kevalya Bhakti, for such devotee, Krishna is saying that they don't take birth. after leaving this body, they come to him, come to Krishna. And then there is some information about material world versus the spiritual world. And in that segment, we heard uh, that material world is basically coming into the manifestation and also getting annihilated. It's not eternal. So material world is coming into the existence and also getting annihilated. And there are different types of annihilation. Uh, in fact, some of the annihilation, the degree of annihilation that happens is, the degree of annihilation that happens to the material world varies depending on what is the type of annihilation. And we talked about that there is one annihilation where things are annihilating uh, with time, and then also at the end of each Divi Yuga, there will be some annihilation, and then there are annihilation that happens at the end of Kalpa, which is Brahma's life, and then there is final annihilation at the Mahakalpa, where Brahma's day is Kalpa, third annihilation, and the fourth annihilation is Mahakalpa. When Brahma's 100 years of life is completed. So this material world comes into existence and gets annihilated, and there is always annihilation. So very simple way to understand this annihilation is that this nityam annihilation, annihilation is happening all the time. All of us are annihilating. And then there is a spiritual world, ekpad and tripad, ekbhuti and tribhuti. We also hear that kind of word. So tribhuti, three-fourth of the material world, three-fourth of the creation is basically a spiritual world, and that spiritual world does not get impacted by this manifestation and unmanifestation that happens. So only one-fourth, which is material world, gets annihilated every time whenever it gets annihilated. So that's what basically is the difference between a spiritual world and material world. Material world is not permanent, where a spiritual world is permanent. So by this information, we come to understand that if we cross the domain of the material world and enter into the spiritual world, we are entering into a abode, into the into periphery of the Supreme Lord, where everything is eternal. So that's very important message coming from this chapter, that if one attains abode of Supreme Personality of Godhead, then one is basically free from this cycle of repeated birth and death, and that can be obtained only by pure bhakti. And then we heard some of the word Kevalya Bhakti and Anya Bhakti coming into the discussion. So that's how this chapter ends. This chapter is basically teaching that one should aspire to go to the eternal abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that is possible only when we are engaged in Ananya Bhakti, in pure devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then this chapter 9 comes, and this chapter further gives the definition and information about bhakti, continues building about bhakti. So if you really try to correlate the chapters are kind of moving in parallel. Some information here, then next information, the next information, and finally it's basically taking us to the point where Krishna is helping us to understand that pure, unalloyed, devotional service to his personal form should be goal of our existence. So in chapter 9 is basically Krishna is saying that this is most confidential knowledge, because this is a knowledge about bhakti. So bhakti is the most confidential knowledge. And who is qualified to understand this knowledge? Krishna is saying that the one who is not envious. So there are devotee and there are non-devotee. So this is not coming from here, but I just wanted to introduce this word. So we have, we interact with the people who are devotee, and we also interact with the people who are not a devotee. So the people who are not the devotee, they can be put into these two categories: na bhajanti and avajanati. So now bhajantis are people who are basically innocent. Okay, they are not worshipping Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead because they do not know. Somebody has not come and told them, but their heart is pure. They are not envious to Krishna. And when they are exposed to the association of the devotee, when they are given the surrounding of the devotee, they have no problem. They do not envy Supreme Lord. They will take the process of bhakti, and they will start. Then they will start performing the devotional service. But the other group, which is avajanati, they are the group who do not, they are envious of Krishna. So even if you go and tell them about Krishna, even if they will repeatedly hear about Krishna, his pastime, his glories, his activities, they they would never come to the point where they will say that I'm ready to uh, take bhakti. Okay, so those type of people, Shastra says that we should not try to really disturb them. If we find out that somebody is envious to bhakti, we don't unnecessarily waste our time with them, because by doing that, they end up doing more and more offense against the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these chapters very much help in the beginning, that one can approach Supreme Personality of Godhead if he or she is not envious to him. That's a very important factor. And then after that, the beauty of bhakti is basically given, that this is very confidential knowledge. This is very confidential topic, and it can be performed with complete happiness and joy. But the one who does not have faith, they cannot come to the stage of performing the bhakti. And then there is information about Ishwarya Gyans, Krishna relationship with this world, where Krishna is saying that, I pervades and maintain the entire material world, yet he's not in everything. Yes, that's true. Krishna is everywhere, yet he is not in everything. And this topic basically, how Krishna is uh, how Krishna is associated with material world, and why we have to know this subject. That Krishna maintains and Krishna creates and Krishna annihilates. What it has to do with us? It has to do with us because this help us understand what is our relationship in bhakti. The 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 very first step is having relationship, sambandha. Okay, so by giving this knowledge, basically Krishna is helping us to understand that don't think that you are just dropped out in a no man land, and there is nobody watching you, there is nobody after you, you have nothing to do with nothing. It's not like that. Rather, by giving this knowledge, Krishna is helping us understand that no, don't think that you are completely aloof. There is some relationship, and here is the relationship. And then Krishna says also that mamayansa jiva loka jiva bhuta sanatana. You don't think that you are nobody, but you are my part and parcel. So this is very important. In Bhagavatam also, first three cantos talks about creation, and why it's important to hear about creation, because creation help us understand the sambandha. Unless and until you do not have sambandha, it's very important, it's very difficult to act. And you can see in the family, we are acting as a husband or as a wife, because there is sambandha. Our sons and daughters are acting with us, and having reciprocal relationship with us, because there is sambandha. Okay, so this sambandha is very important. That is why Krishna is talking about his Ashwarya and his relationship with the material world, so that we can connect with him. And then he talks about three types of worshipper. And we heard, we read about that ekatvena, prithakvena, and vishwato mukham. Ekatvena are the one who thinks that will merge into Krishna, will become Krishna. Prithakvenas are the one who worships his demigod. They worship demigod. They think that demigods and Vishnu, Krishna, is separate. Okay, And this is offense number 2. If you are, every day reciting the 10 offenses against the holy name, the second offense is it is also offense to consider name of demigods such as Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma to be equal or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. Okay, so Prithak Vena, thinking that I'm worshiping Ganesha or I'm worshiping Shiva, it has nothing to do with Vishnu, Krishna. That's not what one should think. And then Vishwato Mukham, basically the Jnani and Dhyani Yogi, they basically worship Vishwat Mukho, Vishwat Mukham. The Dhyan Yogi in their early on stage of yoga, their object of worship is Virat Rupa. It comes in second canto of Bhagavatam. So their object of worship is Virat Rupa. But once they advance in the process of bhakti, in their yoga, dhyan yoga process, then they meditate on Paramatma. So they do not start worshipping Paramatma in the very beginning. Rather, they first basically meditate. Dharana stage is basically meditating on the limbs of the Virat Rupa, 8 limbs of the Dhyan Yoga process. Then after that, once they come to the higher stage, Samadhi stage, then they are in that stage, they, from Paramatma, they start basically meditating on, from Virat Rupa, they start meditating on Paramatma. Okay, so that's what, and 3 types of Gyanis are uh, uh, mentioned there. And then supremacy of the Krishna's bhakti is given in the next segment of verses. So I think we have gone through it. I'll just go to the next one, and then chapter 10 again. Krishna further, basically talks about his vibhutis, his opulences, and then he basically by sharing that he is basically telling Arjuna that that is how one can remember him everywhere, wherever we are, whatever we are doing, in everything, one can see Krishna and one can worship him. Chapter 11 come, and chapter 11 is basically in chapter 10, Krishna is describing his opulences. Some of that he has also done in chapter 7, little bit in chapter 8 also. So here in chapter 11, Krishna is going to depict it. He is going to now display his universal form. And some of the points that we have to remember from this chapter, that universal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Virat Rupa, is a temporary form. It's not form like Rama, Narsimha, or Purushavatar. This is the form which is temporary, imaginary form for people who think that God means somebody who is very 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 big, Mahato Mahiyar, so somebody who is basically thinking that Lord means somebody great. Okay, here is the greatness. The whole material creation is starting from Patala to Satyaloka. Everything is nothing but limbs and parts of Krishna's body. But this is not the object of worship for devotee. And that's the basically essence of this chapter. Through this chapter, Krishna is basically helping Arjun to understand that although everything is me, but one should not think that I have basically lost my identity becoming all of this thing. Rather, all of this thing is mine, but above and beyond, I have my own identity. And then he shows his four-arm Vishnu form, and then finally he shows his two-arm Sham Sundar form. So but this chapter concludes saying that all of these forms, either Virat Rupa form or four-arm Vishnu form or two-arm Sham Sundar form, one cannot see unless and until one doesn't have the anjana of bhakti, premanjana churita, bhakti vilochana, need to have that eye which is which has that devotion. And through the eyes of devotion, one can basically see the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then chapter 12 comes. So in previous chapter, as we see this slide going on a previous chapter, we come to the conclusion that the effulgence, the most beautiful form of Lord is his Shyam Sundar form. And nobody can see any one of this form without having the bhakti of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But still, after hearing all of that, there might be a group of people who will prefer to meditate Krishna on his Virat Rupa form, or on his impersonal Brahman form. So this chapter, Arjuna starts asking that what is better? Should one worship your personal form, or should one worship your impersonal form? Krishna says that no, 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 no. One should worship my personal form. And then this chapter basically gives the all the description, all the challenges and difficulties one has by uh, going through the process of impersonalism. And then for the personalist, Krishna is saying that I personally protect, I give the support, I provide the you know resources that that person is lacking, so that he or she can come to me. So Krishna is granting full protection and saying that you know worshipping me as a person should be the highest most object. So very beautifully these chapters, these 6 chapters, I mean, I think this is sufficient for one to get convinced. Directly Krishna is saying here that how one should be, and there is really no room for one to be Brahmanwadi or Paramatmawadi or any other type of worshipper. Also, in the series of verses, we heard Krishna saying that the person who has less faith, the person who doesn't have faith in what I have said, for them it's very difficult to take the process of bhakti. Okay, so by hearing all of this, we should have firm faith, what Krishna is saying, and with that firm faith, we should basically take bhakti of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and engage into it very seriously. So that was the basically essence of these 6 chapters, helping us to understand that worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his personal form, knowing his opulences and Shakti, is the best way we can worship him. Now I want to get into some of the verses that we have in 6 chapters that we just finished. So 7:3, which says Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kashchid Yatati Siddhaye Yatatamakvi Siddhanam Kashchid Mam Veti Tatotah is one of the verse that we have to remember. Devi Esai Gunmai Mammaya Durataya Mameva Parpadante Mayamevam Trantite. That's the verse 7:3, 7:14 from 7th chapter. We have to remember. And then from 8th chapter, Antakale cha mameva asmaran muktva kalevaram ya prayati samad bhavam yati nasti yatra samsaya. That's the verse also for us to remember. And then from chapter 9, Rajavidya Rajguhyam Pavitram Uttamam Pratyakshawagamam Dharmyam Shushukam Kartum Avayam. That's very beautiful verse. It basically describes the uh, 8 salient features of pure bhakti. So this is beautiful verse. And then 9th verse is basically Astardhadhana Purusha Dharmashasya Prantapah Aprapya Mam Nirvantante Mritu Samsara Vartmani. So one who knows Krishna is free from all sin. That's coming from 9th chapter, verse number 3. And then this 14th verse, Satam Kritanto Mam Yatantasya Didvartaha Namasyantasya Mam Bhaktya Nitya Jukta Upashate. This is another verse from 9th chapter, verse number 14, that we have to remember for this course. There are total 14 verses in last 6 chapters or in 6 chapters. So verse number 26, Puspam. I mean, this is beautiful verse. Phalam toyam yome bhaktya panashyati tad aham bhaktya upahartam asnami pratyatmanah. So this is another verse that comes, and I think most of you know this verse. So that is also one of the verse for memorization. And then verse number 27, Yat karosi yat asnashi yat juhoshi dadashi yat tapashasya konteya tat kurushwa mam arpana. I think this is very phrasic word, very easy to remember. At karosi yat asnasi yat juhoshi dadashi yat tapasyashi konteya tat kurushwa mad arpanam. So that coming from chapter 9. And then the four principal verses of Bhagavad Gita, from chapter 10 comes one after another. Aham sarvasya prabhava mata sarva pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita machita madgata prana bodhyanti prasparam katyantusha mam nityam tushanti cha ramanti cha. Beautiful verse. Samsatatam yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam tena mamupyanti te tesham evanu kampartham aham agyanam jam tamah nashyami atma bhavastito gyan dipena bhashyate. And then also verse number 41 from that chapter. Yadyad vibhutatmat sattvam srimad urjvitam eva tatatat evagacha tvam mam tejo amsha Sambhavam. Know all that majestic, beautiful, and powerful creation in past, present, and future spring from but a fragment of my splendor. Yadyad vibhutimat sattvam. Srimad urjitam eva tadtad evagachha tvam. Mama tejo amsa Sambhavam, Mama Tejo Amsam Sambhavam. It's all happening because my because of my fragment splendor. Then verse number 55. I think this is the last verse in this section. Essence of Bhagavad Gita. Perform bhakti and attain Krishna. Mat karma krin mat parmo mad bhakta shanga varjitaha nirvairaha sarvabhuteshu yasha Mamiti Pandava. He who works for me, considering me the supreme, who is devoted to me without material attachments, without enmity towards and any living being, will surely attain me, O Arjun. So Krishna very nicely here gives us what are the things we need to do to attain him. So with that, basically we come to this segment here. I just want to quickly go over and then we'll have some discussion also once we are done with this one. So the format of the exam will stay the same. We'll have 5 multiple choice questions. And then I'll give 3 verses. Out of those 3 verses, you'll have to write 2. And the way the verses will be given, as you all know, like for example, if we have to give, this verse, we said Sham Satata, and then, so you will know that, okay, Tesham Satata, and then you can write, uh, rest of the verse and translation also. Then after that, we'll have 5 short answer question, each 4 marks. Mid answer, mid type, question answer. That will be 8 questions. Total 40 marks. And then essay type, 1 question, 15 marks. So we'll have total 20 question in the question paper, 100 marks. And I think there is plenty time, 2 hours to write everything. Last time, all of you did very good in everything except essay. I was surprised. I thought that essay should have been, the easiest part because, but unfortunately I just noticed the opposite side. And all of you did very good overall in the exams. The verses were written correctly. The translation was written correct. Short answers awesome, I mean pretty good. Mid type answer, yes, I didn't see much issue there. For verses, what happens is that there are some Sanskrit, visarga, upsarga, and halanta and all of that. We cannot really write those things in uh, English. So we try, and in every one of you made some error. Even I would write, I would make some error. So we always like deduct 1 or 2 mark in the verse. This is very normal. We have to do it. So overall, I think everybody did very good. And this time, please try to make sure that you start writing and responding to each question in a way that you get sufficient time to uh, write essay. Okay, I'm not going to be very lenient this time. Just want to let you know we have to work hard. Most of the questions are going to be coming from the homework that you have done and the purport. So these are the two basically reference. Uh, Reading purport, Prabhupada's purport for these 6 chapters, and then also all the homework that you have done, and that should be sufficient. PowerPoint presentations are basically teachers handout for me to kind of walk you through the chapter. I'm not going to ask anything that's in PowerPoint, but if you all think that I should share the PowerPoint, then I'll send all of that to you if it helps you, whichever way it can. I don't have any problem with it. So that's how uh, we have to go with module 2 exams. And I'm done. I would like to know that when we are ready to take the exam, and what are the options and opinions you have, so that we can get it done. Should we take the exam next week? Should we wait 2 weeks? Somebody has to start, talking, and then things will follow. Huh?
Sorry, go ahead.
So one thing that I would like to know is that I would like basically everybody to take the exam, together, because I noticed that if everybody takes exam together, it has a different mood. It's very good vibration, and all of you did very good last time. If you try to say that, "Oh, I can't do it, leave me in it," you are not going to do good. I know. You will say, so you just do like we do in our class exams. When we were students, we had one date. Everybody will prepare, go give the exam, like that. If we do like that, I'm sure all of you will do very good. So
2 weeks from now,
Prabhu, this is a shock
Prabhu,
here.
when is the exam, Prabhu? I just got disconnected somehow. I don't know.
no, we don't know the date, so we just started talking. Prabhu. We didn't lose anything.
Please. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
So,
Prabhu,
Prabhu, this is a
take some-
shock here.
Yeah.
I just wanted to let you know that I will not be available on the 20th of February. Rest, anything you guys pick up, that'll be fine.
Okay, so 28 is out.
No,
Yeah,
20th, 20.
Or 20.
Yeah, I also have a conflict. I also have a conflict on the
Yes.
20th.
I think we should do it on 27th.
27th?
Yeah.
yes, Prabhu. I think 27 will be good.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So everybody is fine with 27th?
Yes, Prabhu. 20.
All good?
Haribol.
Haribol.
Thank you. So here is the thing, read purports, okay, carefully. I'm going to have this time more questions from the purport. I just want to let you know. So read Prabhupada's purport very carefully. And
we do- So
Yeah.
we'll do exam from 2 to 4 then on the 27th.
And then we'll do the exam 2 to 4. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Is it
And
okay,
Prabhu?
Prabhu? Yeah.
And Prabhu, can you share this PowerPoint from today?
Yes. Yeah. I'll share
Thank
this.
you, Prabhu.
Yes.
So from now to the 27th, the weekends, what is our format, Prabhu? What are we going to do?
So what we'll do is that that's next topic. So I'm not going to basically talk more about the exam. We are done. The 6th module done.
Yeah.
I shared everything that I am supposed to share, and now it's up to you how you study, how you plan everything, and if you need any help, you can ask me, and I'll try to serve whatever capacity I can. We have basically 2 weekends from now until 27th. So if it's okay with you, we can get into the module 3 classes, or we can, I don't know, or if you want some time to study. I know that we mostly study on the weekend, So if you want just one, maybe 20th, if you don't want to have class, or maybe 20th for the QA type of thing, we can discuss back and forth. I'm good with that. But 13th, at least we can take, one of the chapter 13th. Oh, 13th chapter.
Prabhu,
That's good. Yeah.
Prabhu, this is Ram Kishore. Yeah,
Yes.
on the 20th, I'm not available, so not that you couldn't let you know, because I'm taking the Vaishnav care training.
Oh, good.
So, because we have some older devotees here in our community that are probably nearing the time when they're going to leave their body. So anyway, so that's a 2-day class. So it's Saturday and Sunday, that 20th and 21st.
Okay.
I just want to let you know.
So 20th, should we have the class or not, Prabhu's Mataji? Please let me know. I'll do whatever you all want, okay? I'm here to serve you, sir.
Prabhu, I think it will be nice if we get time to prepare, because if you take a class on 13th, then we have to do homework also, right? So I think it will be nice if we get we can talk, but maybe not.
Yeah, so we can
actual
basically here is,
chapter.
I mean, if you all can do 20, we can pass. We don't do any class on 20, that's okay. But the 13th, I think we should have chapter 13, and homework you can submit after exam if that's okay. I can wait for that. I don't know, or if you just wanna not do anything until 27th, I'm sure that many of you may not like that. You like having these classes and keeping the rhythm going on. I just tell me what you want. There is nothing that I have to do here. I just want to help you.
If you give us a waiver to submit the homework after the exam, then we can continue.
Yeah. Homework can be done later. No problem. We can just study one chapter next weekend, 13th chapter, and then 20th we don't do anything, and 27th 2 to 4 we have exams, and then again from 6th March we resume our normal session.
The homework would be due on the 5th then, Prabhu?
Homework will be due on 5th, 6th. Yeah.
Okay, very well.
No problem. I mean,
I like that plan, Prabhu. Then we can keep momentum.
yes. Because I think, if you don't have the class on 13th, I'm sure that, just, 1 hour, right? I mean, all you have to be just 1 hour login. You continue studying for your exam, and then 1 hour just log in, and, we'll just go over chapter 13. So I went very quickly, with these 6 chapters, because I know that we have, really gone in a very systematic way in detail. So I just want to kind of give the, glimpse, just to kind of not, discuss much. So if there is something that you all want to discuss, we can talk, on personal basis, or whatever works. But 13 we'll keep for our chapter 13th. So nice match, 13. And then 20 we'll just pass. 27th we'll have our exam. And then on 6th we'll resume our normal session. And you all can submit the homework by 12th. I'm okay with that also. By 5th or 12th. Take some time. Don't worry. I'll be good. Okay? Sounds
You are the
good?
best.
Prabhu, that sounds
That works,
great.
Prabhu.
Prabhu, there's a question.
Yeah.
Prabhu, I saw the sloka recitation. You did not put anything from chapter 12. Is there a reason?
I think there is nothing from chapter 12. Is there something from chapter 12?
Yeah, there was nothing on the chapter 12.
Yeah. So I have to follow the curriculum that was given to me.
Okay. All right.
So there is nothing coming from chapter 12.
Okay.
This is already, we have 14 verses.
Okay.
So I'm this time not giving any hint, nothing. You'll have to, memorize all 14 verses. That itself will be too many. But, you will figure it out. I always ask the verses which are, powerful verse. Last time you remember, those were like very simple for all of you to go through.
We need to do only 13, Prabhu, because you are going to give 3 options and we have to pick 2, right?
Right. Yeah. You'll have 3 options and he'll pick up 2. So there was no verse from 12th chapter Asuk Prabhu.
Yeah, I saw that, Prabhu. And then also in the long essay, which
Prabhuji.
is there's just one. Are you going to give a choice of two or just one?
No, Prabhu. So you will have 5, that's all. 5 you will have short answer, 5 you will have mid type.
No. Essay type.
Essay
I'm
type,
talking about-
essay type, I don't know. Tell me. So that's why I think, just giving one should be good. But if you want, I can give 2, but not 3 like last time. Last time I wanted to be little, generous to make you aware that how the whole thing is going to happen. So this time, it's not like that I'm trying to go out of, curriculum, standard or anything like that. But I can give, basically, if you want, I can give 2 essay and you'll have to write 1. How you want. So let's talk about that one. For
I think
verses, you all are,
that's good.
Yeah, give options, Prabhu. I mean, just only one, that's difficult.
okay. So multiple choice, 5 you have to answer. So I saw that, I give 6 questions and some of you answer all. like short type question, some of you have answered all the questions that I had given. I said, why? That was, I'm giving too much time, huh? And then not writing the essay. So I very clearly say that please answer only 5. And then last time I think I had 6 or 7 questions and you answered all of them, some of you. I don't know, I can't do much. I mean, I can only give 20 them. So what I did is that I looked at which one has the most, kind of I would say that which one was answered, the best way. And then I added mark of that one. And the one that was a little bit missing something, I left that one. So that's what happens. So don't, I mean, if you want to answer all, then rather I would just give what I have to give. And then there'll be 2 essay type questions. So I just want to make a note of that. For short answer and mid type question, should I give the option or no option?
Yes, Prabhu, if you can give a couple.
So maybe one option then.
That'll be good.
Okay, so 5 instead of 6, 8 instead of 9. I mean, 9 instead of 8, I should say 6 instead of 5. Then 2 essay. So let me see, who do we have? Soumya Mataji here? Okay, she's
Yes,
here.
Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Do you have anything, Mataji?
No, Prabhu, I'm like good with the format and also like the date of the exam.
Okay. Okay, if we are good, then we can adjourn here today.
All right.
And Prabhu,
Thank you.
anything?
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hari.
No, Prabhu. I'm good, Prabhu.
Okay, so we'll chant Vaishnava Pranams and then we'll adjourn here. Vanchukalvatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya evasya patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Assemble Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Jai Bhakti Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Oh, Premanandi Hari
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hari Hari. Hari Bol.